Eventually it ends in suicide.
The main Islamist group in Algeria, the GIA, ended by being led by a Mr. Zouabri, a chicken farmer who killed everyone who disagreed with him. He issued a final communique declaring that the whole of Algerian society should be killed, with the exception of his tiny remaining band of Islamists. They were the only ones who understood the truth. By the mid-90s, politics in Washington was dominated by one issue: the moral character of the President of the United States.
If you believe you've been a victim of sexual harassment by the President, we want to help.
Behind this were an extraordinary barrage of allegations against Clinton that were obsessing the media. These included stories of sexual harassment, stories that Clinton and his wife were involved in Whitewater, a corrupt property deal, stories that they had murdered their close friend, Vince Foster. And stories that Clinton was involved in smuggling drugs from a small airstrip in Arkansas.
Full stop. Okay, this is the last of it. The weight's good. We tested 10 of the brakes. Looks like it's all here.
Well, either you guys are the shittiest coke thieves on the planet.
Which we are not. You know, I mean, if that was... I mean, if we put our minds to it. Look, here's the thing about the McCracken brothers. Tony, hush. You were saying? Hey, between you and me, I thought donuts was from the get-go.
And since the coke's all here, let's get you fellas loaded.
Yeah, now you're talking. About something else. Entirely. Apparently.
What? Did you nerf nuts think I was talking about getting drunk?
Yeah, on money.
Oh, man. Classic, Rando. And don't worry, Calderon's good for the money. At least for now. Am I right, fellas?
Are you?
Classic Rando.
Yeah, Rando's awesome.
So, obviously you're not going to be able to pressurize this baby, so,
I'll keep it under 8,000.
Still going to freeze your asses off. Good thing you're flying south, huh?
Yep.
You do know where you're going, right?
I absolutely know where we're going.
Oh, pirates. Yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ship.
My name's Gary Webb. I am an investigative journalist. I've been an investigative journalist for about 25 years for daily newspapers. And in 1996, I wrote a series of stories entitled Dark Alliance, which was about CIA involvement in drug trafficking.
I will tell you, Director Deutsch, as a former Los Angeles police narcotics detective, that the agency has dealt drugs throughout this country for a long time.
Wait a minute. If you don't like what's going on here, please leave now. Leave now, because there are others who do want to hear what's going on in this room.
Will you please take your seats? I will come back to you as we roll back across to the center section.
Director Deutsch, I will refer you to 3 specific agency operations known as Amadeus, Pegasus, and Watchtower. I have Watchtower documents heavily redacted by the agency. I was personally exposed to CIA operations and recruited by CIA personnel who attempted to recruit me in the late 70s to become involved in protecting agency drug operations in this country. I have been trying to get this out for 18 years, and I have the evidence. My question for you is very specific, sir. If, in the course of the IG's investigations and Fred Hitz's work, you come across evidence of severely criminal activity,
Let him speak
and it's classified, will you use that classification to hide the criminal activity, or will you tell the American people the truth?
What my story showed was that the cocaine that was being sold in those neighborhoods was coming from mainly one source, and this one source was being used to finance a guerrilla war in Central America. The general idea of the CIA dealing drugs was something that the American mainstream press had never written about before, and that's why it prompted outrage among blacks, among drug reform activists, among politicians, by the CIA, by every federal agency involved in the drug war, because it showed they weren't doing their job, that it was a fraud.
But none of these stories were true. All of them had been orchestrated by a young group of neoconservatives who were determined to destroy Clinton. But despite all his efforts, Kenneth Starr could find no incriminating evidence in Whitewater. Nor could he find any evidence to support any of the sexual scandals that had come from the Arkansas Project. Until finally, his committee stumbled upon Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky.
A bimbo, a stalker, a seductress.
Barbara Walters with Monica Lewinsky, a woman guaranteed a place in history, finally free to tell her own story of the affair that nearly toppled the president.
Sometimes I have warm feelings, sometimes I'm proud of him still, and sometimes I hate his guts.
I'm Levine, yeah, that's Chuck's real name, mistook this rock star for his own selfish exit strategy, bro. Check it, Alex. I embarrassed him in front of his children and the world by healing at a pace that his unevolved mind cannot process. Okay, last I checked, Haim, I've spent, I think, close to the last decade, I don't know, effortlessly and magically converting your tin cans into pure gold.
Well, joining now is the radio show host and close friend of Charlie Sheen, the man he was talking to, Alex Jones. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. If I could just say one thing, I've known Charlie for about 6.5 years. He's never drunk alcohol, used drugs in front of me. He's been completely clean for almost a decade until about 7 months ago. Now he's come off the drugs and the alcohol, which is almost like, you know, being off your meds. It has the same effect. So he's supercharged. He's angry. He's focused. And I know that when they interviewed him at his house, because I talked to him, they interviewed him for about 2 hours. And that's a little kind of joke that's out of context. He's tired of being judged and him being held up as the ultimate demon in this world. He didn't kill 1 million people in Iraq. He wasn't involved with the takedown of Building 7 here in New York. And he thinks there's bigger devils out there than himself. And Chuck Lorre's put out a whole bunch of these cue cards while having management tell him a month ago, if you speak out against 4 episodes being cut, we're going to fire you. Then he starts putting out all of these, Chuck Lorre, he starts putting out vanity cards, not just on 2.5 Men.
On other shows saying Charlie Sheen is dead inside and soulless. You didn't show the worst one there, and so Charlie's told, we're tying your hands, now we're going to beat you up for whatever contract.
Let me ask you, so the question that I have is, so you're saying...
Also, what about the trans porn on your phone, Alex? Are you going to talk about that?
Say that again?
trans porn on your phone. That's all they keep talking about. And
You know, I saw a couple news articles about that. It's ridiculous. I was like looking up some reporter we're trying to hire today and punched in some number, and it popped up porn on my phone. Everybody's had porn pop up on their phones hundreds of times. So I'm sitting there with a phone on air showing it to everybody because I couldn't get a URL up in the studio. And then like something pops up and like, oh my God. And I looked at it. It wasn't, the news blurred it out because there was nothing there. They blurred it to then say something was there. Then you went to it was some porn menu. I probably had porn menus pop up 500 times on my phone. So I appreciate your call. I mean, it's insane, ladies and gentlemen. There's two types of people. People that look at porn and people that lie about it. But I wasn't looking at porn on my phone. I don't take phones on air that I look at porn on. And so I saw all that. I didn't respond to it. I mean, if I respond to half the attacks on me, it'll then it's ridiculous. But I'll say this. The Amazon ads, the Viagra ads, the weird non-plastic bag ads are taking my iPhone over. iPhones didn't used to be that bad like Androids.
I'm saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
And that they're still in this business?
Yes.
That's what, and that's what you're saying in your book. When you talk to parents,
Here right now.
Corey, there are a lot of parents out here.
Are here.
The sharing of intelligence. Behind the forbidding walls of the Kremlin, I met with the remarkably open Vladimir Putin.
Mr. President, you were in your office and saw on television the attack on the World Trade Center. What did you think? What did you feel when you saw it?
It was a usual working day, but I had very mixed feelings. First of all, it might seem a little bit strange, but I had the feeling of guilt for this tragedy. We had talked about the possible threats to the United States, to other countries, but we're not able to determine who, where, and how they can strike. And this was the first feeling I had, the feeling of anger, and to some extent the feeling of guilt.
And I was so high off the ground that I could see for miles around.
Which Clinton denied. And in that lie, the neoconservative movement believed they had found what they had been looking for, a way to make the American people see the truth about the liberal corruption of their country. A campaign now began to impeach the president, and in the hysteria, the whole conservative movement portrayed Clinton as a depraved monster who had to be removed from office. But yet again, the neoconservatives had created a fantasy enemy by exaggerating and distorting reality.